Okay, let's start from the beginning then. So I was just talking, like in the next 5 minutes, I'm going to talk about ReSight and about the challenge. Basically, ReSight is building a platform for augmented reality that is enabling a digital information layer on top of physical space that is persistent, is social in the context of what you see around you in the space. And this is being achieved by a distributed, privacy-first, live 3D semantic mapping engine that runs on the device. But I'm not going to dig into that too much. But I do want to talk a little bit about the challenge. So about 2 months ago, we went out with the SDK and we set up a challenge for building applications that actually use persistent augmented reality or multi-user augmented reality. And we went out to the community and started talking with people and offering them the opportunity to build application for it. So I think that we were kind of astonished by the response we got from the community. Over 1,000 people showed some interest and in joining the competition. Eventually, we got about 80 submissions of ideas and applications that people actually created for the competition. And just a few words about the data that we collected, because we think that it's interesting for people that are in this community to understand who are the different people that make up this community. So about 2/3 of the people that submitted ideas are professional software developers. They have experience with writing code, but only a little bit more than half of them have experience with augmented reality. And from my perspective, it shows how fast this domain is growing. We had submissions from 4 different continents, from over 20 countries, very diverse, both in the people and groups that submitted them, and also in the different ideas that we got. The majority, almost half of the ideas, did come from games and education, but we got also different ideas from almost everything you can imagine. Solving problems, retails, to social applications and other smaller types of applications. In the end, we did get 6 full applications that have integrated ReSight SDK and are actually ready to be downloaded from people that want to try them out. I think it's fantastic results, and it's very interesting to see how this community is growing and becoming more and more bigger and stronger every day. Yeah, just a few words about the top submissions that we got. So we got many fabulous submissions. I'm not able to show all of them here. I wanted to show just like a few picks. And some of the people that created them have joined us today, and we'll talk later on in this event. So we had different types of applications. For example, Epic Marble, which is a social augmented reality game that you're able to roll a marble on the physical space and actually save the path that the marble did. And I think it's a really fun game. I tried it myself. My kids tried it. They loved it. Self AR, which takes social interaction to the next level. You can take selfies with yourself and with your past self. You can live this as ghosts, so for others to discover. Learn AR, a language learner, which is basically an application for education, for learning a language for kids. It's really interesting concept, and that I hope that we'll talk more about in the next hour. And also a different, totally different kind of applications. For example, Flame Train, which trains you how to act if a fire breaks up in your office, for example, or in your home. city canvas where you can actually bring the museum from the museum into your city and interact with it. And Music AR, which is a fantastic idea where you can produce and experience music and share it with others in physical space. So
I think we lost him again, right? Okay. 1 second.
Interested in that. We also have a collaboration with Catch AR, which is a community leader in teaching about augmented reality, and we are creating new guides and sample apps to help you guys to build things faster. And now I want to call forward the judges and mentors and talk with them a little bit, both about the competition and about the state of augmented reality today. So yeah, if we can join with them. Yeah. Hi, guys. So it was difficult in the beginning. For some reason, I couldn't get the presentation to work, but now it seems that everything is back at normal. Yeah. So thank you all for joining us. And I wanted, so basically, this part of the event is a discussion a little bit about the next steps that augmented reality is going through and about the lessons that were learned from this challenge. So yeah, if you can unmute yourself so I can see that we get to hear you guys. Hi.
Hey, everybody.
Hello.
Hi.
Okay. So I want to start with maybe asking you a little bit about maybe some things that you learned from. So the competition was built in such a way that the more people put the effort into building their prototypes and developing their ideas, we try to help them with mentorship from you, and of course support from us. And I wanted to ask you if you learned anything from the mentorship that you offered to these guys from the sessions that you had with them. How was it to work closely with people trying to build up new applications and prototypes?
I'll start.
So, yeah.
I'll take it. So first of all, hi everyone. Nice to meet you all. I'm Gil. I work at Sony. Just a few words about what we do. So I have two roles within Sony. First one is trying to collaborate and create partnership with the innovative startups in the various Sony business unit. And the second part is I'm part of Sony Innovation Fund. Sony is a corporate venture capital arm. So yeah, I think what was really interesting to see from this challenge is to see that AR can really touch us everywhere, whether it's from gaming or teaching apps, tourism, and I don't know, even the fire drilling app. So you can see that AR is placed in every part of our life, and that was really nice to see. Also, it was really nice to see that people from all over the world are interested in AR. And also that you managed to reach out to all those people worldwide. That was quite nice to see.
Thank you, Gil, and nice having you here. I wanted to ask, I mean, Ori, you termed you coined the term the AR cloud, and I think a lot of the applications that that we saw here or we were trying to promote here were kind of applications that that use persistent augmented reality and add the idea that information has to stay over time in a place. And I wanted first maybe to ask you to explain how do you perceive that the AR cloud, and also kind of like where is it today from your perspective?
And all of that in 1 minute, right?
Yeah, well, no, you got a little bit more than
that's fine. Hey, everybody. I'm Ori Inbar, co-founder of AWN Super Ventures. So I've been in this AR and VR community for nearly 15 years now, kind of trying to advance it through events and through a fund. And, you know, I have to say that in the last 15 years, I've literally seen thousands of AR use cases. And here again, you know, you kind of go out and you meet with people and they come up with completely brand new use cases, and proves this idea that, you know, once you give the power into the hands of creators and developers, then you'll get all these kind of cool new things. And for me, it's all supporting that purpose of really bringing AR to every single person on Earth. And that's kind of one of the reasons that I kind of started talking about the AR cloud as a way to overcome some of the limitations of AR and really make it relevant for every person anywhere in the world. So we see that, you know, through these kind of challenges and through the exposure of these tools into the hands of creators, you actually get closer to achieving that goal. So that was really cool. It's been over 3 years now since we started talking about the AR cloud. And, you know, back then we said that in 3 years, we expect the AR cloud to mature. I think we're still maturing. There's still work to do. But you are seeing things, you know, we are seeing technologies out there, you know, first, you know, from people like Apple and Google that are starting to support this. You see Niantic, you know, putting a lot of emphasis on that. And of course, startups like ReSight's, which are offering, you know, kind of the more advanced vision of the AR cloud and giving it or putting it in the hands of developers and creators. So that, you know, that's definitely a huge step. We always want to see it happen faster than it is. So always a little bit of disappointment, but, you know, just seeing a lot of the activity happening in this space is very encouraging. And, you know, you can also see it trickle into some apps, you know, like major apps like Google Maps, which, you know, they don't really promote the you know, persistent aspect of it, but that's what it's really based on, you know, the ability to go out anywhere in the world, pull up your phone, and it would immediately recognize where you are and be able to place content on it. In this case, you know, for navigation, but still the similar concept. So are we there yet? Obviously not, but I think we're getting closer with giant steps, and a lot of it is thanks to startups like ReSight's.
Well, thank you. We are definitely trying, but I think it's really is a community effort. I mean, from our perspective, and maybe that's something I want to ask all of you guys. I mean, today I think that most of the augmented reality applications that we see are centered around face filters or maybe e-commerce kind of 3D visualization. And we tried a little bit to change that in the competition and bring forward different ideas that are maybe more interesting, that are more engaging, that open new pathways for bigger crowds to actually use them. And I wanted to ask you, what ideas did you encounter in the competition, or maybe not just in this competition, that are interesting, that you think that take augmented reality a little bit forward? if somebody wants to address that.
So I'll take this one. This is Michelle. I'm an investor at Qualcomm Ventures. I think one of the interesting things I liked from the ideas in the competition is how do you take AR outdoors? How do you tour the city and either play with a marble or visit a museum or do other things in a large scale, not in a closed environment, not on your mobile phone with your own face, and not even in a manufacturing facility. Those are additional applications that we have seen. But I think the concept and the vision of actually taking the AR capabilities into the outdoors and enabling a content overlay of the real physical world out there with additional content, I think this is an exciting opportunity. I think we still have quite a long way until we actually get there. But I think that the steps in that direction are quite exciting.
Thank you, Michelle. And somebody else maybe had like a favorite kind of application that, or an idea that you wanted to see further explored? Maybe not in this competition because it's a short one, but that will be developed later.
I'll jump in quickly because mine sort of jumps on what Michelle said. So there was one that was really based around tours, and I'm Patrick. I run Dev Diner. We do all sorts of emerging tech stuff. We've got a Twitch stream, all that stuff around AR. It's fun. But one of the cool things that I saw that I thought was really close to what AR's real advantages was doing tours in AR, but also not just simple tours, but more really using the location of things. So getting somebody to explore a city, but in a really interactive way, having like interactive stories, making it more like an escape room sort of thing. Partially because it is also cool in that it's a game and people like playing games. But also more so in that it's not just, let's just get a typical application, but you can see the world. It's you actually physically put things around the world and you actually use that location data in a really meaningful and useful way. Because you could theoretically learn about the things that the tours have, but it's so much more useful if you are guided directly there and sort of like indirectly as well. Like you feel like you actually went out and found those spots, rather than just if somebody literally walked you around from step to step to step. So you'll learn, you'll actually remember a lot more. So I thought that sort of idea was very cool because that was a lot more around like the location stuff is, I think, where AR is the most exciting because it makes the most sense with all of what we can do. So yeah, I thought that was very cool.
Interesting. And I think most of you got to do a mentoring session, right? Or maybe even, I think all of you, right? So maybe an easy question. I mean, what kind of common mistake do you see people that are getting into augmented reality doing, or something that, you know, they should try to avoid? And I think it's always good to know also the pitfalls and not only the dreams and the exciting things. Did you get? I'm sure that you have like a lot of experience with ideas that need to be adjusted.
I can take this one if you like.
Yeah.
I'm Avi Barzav. I've been working in AR and VR for 30 years now and have spent the last 10 to 15 years trying to make sure everybody has really great AR hardware. And I guess that kind of goes to the point of what I think the common mistakes are. Right now, you know, we're all limited to using our phones and holding up the phone and seeing the world. And the biggest challenge with that is that people don't like to hold up their phones for very long. It's a hard thing to do. It's a little bit socially awkward, but it's also just painful to have an experience where you need to hold up your phone the whole time. And so the apps really need to be designed to be, you know, what they like to call snackable, right? Something where you can just take out your phone, look around, see something, maybe use it for a few minutes, put it away, and have it be very casual. And a lot of the designs that we all think about, we think about what's it going to be like when we all have head-worn devices and this graphics are everywhere, but we're not there yet. And so you have to design for the device that you're on and make it something that's very rapidly engaging, catches your attention, engages your natural spatial memory without having to see everything all the time, and then allows you to jump in and out very quickly and hopefully do it in a social way so multiple people doing this together provides even more impetus to wanting to pick up the phone to go see something. That's a good short answer. I'll leave it at that.
Yeah, that's a great advice. Thank you. And I wanted to ask, I mean, we talked a little bit, maybe we didn't explain that much about AR Cloud and the persistent multi-user augmented reality and all that, but one of the things that we are trying to understand is what kind of applications that are existing today can metamorph into something like that, or add value to the users by adding this kind of features. And I think that some of the applications that we saw in the contest were already existing as applications and added this as a feature. And that's something that I find intriguing, that it's not only a new type of applications, but also kind of like finding the ways to add value to existing ones. I don't know if it's really a question though, right? So, but maybe the question is, what is the next stage that you see for augmented reality? I mean, today there is certain things that are already happening, but how do you imagine that going forward in the next, year or so? Not like the far future where we all have like smart glasses, and I think that then maybe our vision becomes clearer, but like the next steps that are coming up now.
No, Maria, you actually mentioned something around, how to take existing applications and make them usable in AR. And that's something that I want to sort of provide a warning here. In past, whenever a new platform was introduced, you had, desktop computers and mobile computers. A lot of the work was porting the previous generation of applications to the new platform. And that's, that worked for the most part. But in some cases, it actually looks awkward. It looks, like skeuomorphism, where you apply something like an old technology to a completely new user experience that doesn't really match. And I think for AR, it's a very big thing, right? So if people think about, we're going to take some mobile apps and just port them to something that works in AR with the similar user experience, with two-dimensional screens and, sequential kind of interaction, I think that's going to fail. And we have to kind of, in many cases, rethink how the user experience should look like. So it's almost like, forget everything you know about how to create an app for a mobile device and think about it in terms of a spatial experience. And a lot of the things will change. And I think that's what's one of the things that are so exciting about this new wave, is that we have to rethink everything, and a lot of room for invention.
It's definitely a challenge as well, I guess. I mean, it's kind of inventing new ways of interaction, which is another layer of difficulty for people that are maybe doing their first steps in the field. And maybe that's a question for the guys that comes from venture capital around here. So when you meet with AR entrepreneurs, what kind of advice do you give them? I mean, it's not only about creating the best app, but maybe like having some kind of viable business around it. So we have quite a few people here from that side, right?
I can give my 2 cents, is that we are looking at applications that have a viable product that can keep them live and running until they are able to reach their end goal and end vision. Because I think we all realize here that it will take time. As already mentioned earlier, like we were hoping that in 3 years' time, we will see AR Cloud matures, and it takes longer. And we anticipate that other things in this space will also take more time than we maybe anticipated a few years back and even now. And therefore, for entrepreneurs in this space, to survive and to actually build a company and succeed eventually, we do recommend to have a gradual approach of delivering some value to customers early on with the existing platforms, and then growing that into a vision that can mature as the overall ecosystem matures.
Yeah, makes sense. So we're almost out of time for the panel, but I wanted maybe to ask you one more thing. And basically, you got to talk and to see a lot of different submissions. And I'm kind of curious if any of them, because you guys have seen probably, each one of you have seen hundreds of different ideas and applications and maybe projects that around this. And was there an application or an idea that kind of like surprised you, or something that you didn't really think about? Or are we all doing like the same thing, but from different angles? I don't know if any of you can answer that.
I'll try to answer that one, and Savi again. Look, in prototyping, futuristic devices, one of the first things we do is try to build a bunch of these apps ourselves. We try to make these experiences, and so you could imagine most of the obvious ones. There would be some version of it, and we could imagine it. The idea of being able to put content out in space that everybody could contribute to, those things have been thought about very widely. No one's done it really well yet. And the idea of putting memories in space. I think the one that I haven't seen enough treatment on of the submissions, I think was the music one. I think that people don't think enough about audio out in the world and music out in the world, and I think it's pretty ripe for even early AR apps to be very audio centric. It doesn't require you to have to hold up your phone, for one thing. You could imagine being able to deliver really good audio experiences coupled with some visuals. And so I think I would encourage people to be thinking about that. I think in the near term, we're all going to be much more enabled with spatial audio headphones, like I'm wearing right now, out in the world. And there's a lot of things that can be done really, more easily than waiting for the full-on visual immersion that we're all talking about.
And to follow up on that, when in the form of an incubator or a startup or a technology company, you think about all the different use cases. It's a great exercise, but when you see it from the like a music creator, a music producer comes up with the idea, then it blows your mind completely because it comes from where it should be,
Yeah.
And that was, I think, what was fascinating with some of the submissions.
Interesting. And I think that from our perspective as well, I mean, music is definitely something that should be thought of more often. It has a way of getting you to experience things that is not only visual, but also it is about immersive technology. So it does immerse you more than just like seeing something. I think it's really a good point here. And before we move on to meeting the creators, does anyone here want to add something that maybe I didn't ask, but you think that was interesting for the audience to hear?
I want to just add something quickly to the music one and just in general. So one of the things that I think is the most exciting for AR, and which I think this competition really started to touch on, which is really, really good, was that AR is our chance, I think, to sort of rethink how we're approaching technology in general. Like, so we don't have to have like a point and click mouse interface and all that sort of thing. We got the chance to completely rethink and say, okay, if we were building it from scratch, what would be the nice way to actually day-to-day use technology? And the thing I really liked about the music one was that it was completely rethinking it. Like, it was literally just, if I had to make music just completely virtually, how would I do it? And that's the stuff which I think AR developers out there need to be doing more of, because you're going to do weird things that aren't going to work every time. Like, you're going to be experimenting and throwing things into the mix and being like, oh, that makes no sense to anybody that I showed this to. But then over time, the more you do that, we'll find those little bits and pieces that actually will end up being the foundation for dozens of apps that then start copying your best practice that you just found by tinkering and testing. So that stuff is really exciting. And I think the music app did really, really well with that.
Thank you, Patrick. So let's move on to meet the creators. Yeah, let me just share this screen with you, and then so I will show now just like a short 1-minute video showing a few of the applications, and then we'll get to talk to these guys that are here with us live, tell us a little bit about what we did, and a chance to get a real feedback from both mentors and creators. So let's do it. So, welcome back and thank you. So I would ask the participant to join us now. If they can, turn on their videos and unmute themselves so we get to see them. Hello, guys.
Hello.
Hi.
So we saw, like in the show reel, a little bit of the applications that you created for the competition and the ideas that that you developed. Can you hear me well?
Yep.
Thank you. And I want to talk with each one of you just for a few, for a short period of time, just to explain, so you can explain a little bit what you did. And I want to say, as I said in the beginning, that we had over almost 100 submissions, and out of all these guys, you are the top ones that our judges have decided on. And so definitely just being here, it means that you are the top 10%, and that's awesome, I think, and well done, and congratulations on that. So I want to give the stage to you guys, and then later maybe we'll engage with the mentors, because it's a good chance for you to also get your feedback and to tell the different participants what you thought about the application. So who wants to go first? Lauren, do you want to go first?
Yeah, sure.
Yeah.
Hi. So my name is Lauren Owen, and I'm interested in the intersection between augmented reality and child learning. Language Learner was designed and developed to use ReSight's SDK to make any room, home, or really anywhere an interactive and immersive experience for users. I wanted to make this app to further enable users to make any space the opportunity to increase their knowledge and practice their language skills. So this is why we have Language Learner. Through work with my mentor, who was absolutely amazing, I was able to really refine this idea and try to really update it to a way that really uses the SDK so that everywhere you go, it could be like something new, where you're adding labels to different furniture or different rooms. And then when you select your language, those labels will switch as you move through, and you can interact with them by touching them, pressing them, hearing it, speaking back to it. But definitely the first of more to come with it.
That's awesome. Yeah, I think, okay, so let's move on to the next one because we don't have so much time. Thank you, Lauren. Wade, Patrick?
Yeah, I can go. Yeah, I just want to first say really impressed to see the other demos. So congratulations to all of us. Really cool content. I'm from Patched Reality. Been doing AR for some form or another for about 12 years. We are really interested in the intersection of user-generated content, location awareness, and multiplayer, and being aware of the actual space and game, and also gameplay. So things that are fun, delightful, and also that persist over time in a certain location. So ReSight was a fantastic opportunity to take a game we'd already created that took advantage of Apple's LiDAR sensor to scan the world. So Epic Marble, it's all user generated in terms of you decide your own challenge. How challenging do you want to make your marble run? You can make it go, 10 feet and you're done, or you can try and make it go down the stairs and around the corner, bounce off. It's all up to you. What ReSight let us add was the ability for you to put those runs out in the world, save them, and then someone else could come along and try your run, see how it worked. And it was, it's just a first foray into that type of game. We'd love to obviously expand it into more creative, obstacles, things like that. But this was a fantastic opportunity to, and the team was great. Ari in particular was really helpful whenever we got stuck with something in the SDK and answering all our questions. But yeah, I think we're pretty happy with how it turned out. And thanks for the opportunity. I don't know if you want to add anything, Wade.
Oh, I just wanted to say that I hope we were included in the solving problems category, because we think that rolling virtual marbles is a problem that really needed to be solved.
Definitely, and thank you guys. It was awesome working with you. And I also say that your application is actually up in the App Store, so people can actually try it out and see what it's all about. So Daniel is going to share a link to it on the YouTube.
Thank you.
Yeah,
thank you very much.
By the way, Wade, I think it should be a mandatory app for building constructors, so you can check the ground is flat and so on. So,
it's utility. You're solving a problem there.
Yeah.
And Arne, do you want to? Arne and Chris.
Sure. Hi. Thanks so much for having us. It's really a pleasure to be part of this because I'm kind of an outsider coming from the 2D film world into this augmented space. Is really amazing and exciting to be in this wild, wild west scenario of getting stuff out there. And yeah, Chris and I, we created Self AR, and that's mainly because we stepped into the game very late, and we just had about a week to finish something to present to you. So we thought about a very easy and fun application that is basically just putting copies of yourself into space. And that was basically it. But now it's developing into a kind of very easy and fun and exciting way to create augmented reality content, because it's really easy to create these kind of holograms with the segmentation capabilities of the AR kit and AR core, and placing them on location where it's happening kind of creates a very exciting way of creating content in space and placing it in space, and then opens up applications for guidance, education, storytelling. And we're thinking about using the LiDAR and video capabilities as well to further develop this into something that people can use for not only for fun, but also for useful cases.
Thank you, Aaron. And Chris also is here, right?
Yeah, I'm also here. Yeah, perfectly summed up. Nothing to add to that.
And yeah, I can vouch that it's really fun to try Self AR, and they set up also a website, so you should try and check it out. Toye, do you want to go and tell it a bit about your project?
Yes. My name is Toye Onikoe. I'm from Providence, Rhode Island, and I created a flame train, and I did that with the help of my friend Ashton. He's a firefighter. So basically what I wanted to do is build a simulated immersive environment where you can put fires and create them and then put them out. So the way I did it using ReSight's SDK, I'm able to place a cigarette in a certain location, and then over time, it'll start a fire, and the fire grows throughout the space, and the smoke also grows. And then from there, it's a button you could press, take out a fire extinguisher, and then put it out. And the real goal is to really just increase the training ability in residential place, in your home, your shop, and yeah, really be able to teach people fire safety.
That's awesome, and definitely I think one of the applications that you can see it becoming like something that companies and actually use to teach their employees fire safety and can be further developed. Mike, do you want to go?
Yes. Hi, I'm Mike. Yeah, my application is built or based on something I've been working on for the last few years on and off. In Barcelona, I wanted to kind of create a digital canvas for like a digital street art, basically. My background is fine arts, installation art, and also site-specific art. So for me, this was a really interesting technology to kind of like where these things all come together. My previous like prototype was all based on image markers, and I was always waiting for this moment where like real persistent, a real site-specific kind of like AR came about. So I'm amazed and humbled and very grateful that I'm here with you guys, because I really wanted to put like all the features that I had in my previous prototype in this one, amongst others, like placing, when you placed your objects, that you could rotate scale and make your own composition, your own gallery, basically. Also spatial audio, because my initial objects also had like audio attached to it with spoken word poems to it, and which, like Avi said, it makes like such a big difference in the experience. And at this moment, we already have a few projects proposals, amongst others in Barcelona. We're seeking collaborations with museums, galleries, but also with individual artists to use this digital canvas to place their art and their stories and their content throughout the city. And for the Barcelona one, we want to also like organize workshops with people to create their art into AR ready, content, so to speak. So super excited. And I think that ReSight's, I was amazed, first of all, about how steady the tracking was. That was for me the first like really giveaway. And yeah, I think it's got a lot of future. It was also kind of like playing around with Photoshop 1, where you have a few undos and like no layers. So I really hope we get like more layered, and we can kind of like have several experience in the same location. So you can sort of like swipe through experiences, swipe through art, swipe through stories, and super excited stuff. And yeah, that's it.
Very interesting, and please don't do it only for Barcelona. Come to our cities as well.
I'll take.
We all want to enjoy art and make our city beautiful.
I will. We'll talk about it.
So last but not least, Zachary. You're muted, I think.
Oh, can you hear me now?
Yes.
Yeah, cool. Yeah. So yeah, being in this competition was a good journey. It kind of gave me like an extra timeline to really just push things forward, and I managed to try out. I didn't manage to fully use the SDK with my thing, but I was able to try out the test and see that it actually works, and in terms of actually tracking the area, and to really solidify the concept and see that it's possible to have sounds put in a space. Yeah, and it's really been like every other day it's been new ideas are coming, and just like we said, it's kind of reimagining using it's not a point and click anymore. It's become something different, and that's why I'm almost overwhelmed. Even just like today, I've been looking at how to scrub a sound through drawing a line, and like when you skip audio, maybe when you're listening to music, and instead you're just drawing a line, and then you can skip the audio there. So there's so much possible with this. I'm trying to give myself a timeline so that I can bring it out to people and bring in things like ReSight to really try and see how they react. But it's also, there's a bit of fear because that it's something that is not so common, but it's also what makes it exciting.
I think you definitely, one of the ideas that were more pushing the boundaries and innovative. I think a few of the judges talked about that it is something that they want to see more. How do you actually create this spatial music, and how do you integrate that into the experience? So yeah, for me it was a kind of a revelation. Your ideas of how to actually engage with this music in physical space. So yeah. We are running out of time almost, and sorry for the delays in the beginnings that stole away a few minutes of your time here. But before we move on to the announcements and the final prize declarations, I want to give you an opportunity if you want to add anything or talk to one of the judges, or the other vice versa. If you have something that you want to say and share with us. I think you have to remember it's not only the few of us here, but we have a large audience watching us, and so I'm sure that will be interested to get your perspective on this. So somebody has something he wants to share?
I guess I'll add one quick thing, which is not to jump ahead too far into the details, but for any of the people who didn't win, don't take that as a discouragement, because I think if this were a fund that were funding potential, I think we would vote very differently. I think we voted a little bit more on what we already saw, what was the level of polish that we were able to see. But in terms of the inspiration and the ideas, specifically if you didn't win today, I still want to see the next version. I'm very interested to see what happens with it, and I wish there were a way of getting you more money to fund that. It's kind of inverted in some sense, but those are the ones I really want more money to go to and more time. And I realize it's not anyone's full-time job here to do this, and it's hard to find the time and the cycles and the money to work on these things. But please keep going, because it was all very interesting.
I couldn't agree more, and I think that each one of you is amazing. I don't know if everyone in the audience realize how difficult it is to start from a simple idea and develop it so much, and to go all the way to a prototype is even so much harder. To have actually something working out in the world. This is an amazing fit. I wasn't expecting that many of you to be here today. So kudos to all of you. And truly, if we had more resources, we'd be happy to share more with you guys. But we do hope to have more challenges coming up, and we are growing as a startup, and yeah, we are part of this community, and definitely want to see your projects going forward. So respecting the times of the audience, and we're already a little bit over the time limit, so I'm gonna share the winners with you, and thank you so much for joining us today. Yeah, let's hope that it works well. Okay, so the winner is drum rolls and all that. So let's start with some honorable mentions. First is Self AR, which was one of the most fun apps to play around with, good ideas that can actually grow to something bigger. And I think that Arne and Chris did a fantastic job joining in late to the competition, but we achieved so much. So I'm really looking forward to seeing more things coming from you guys. And as I said earlier, there is a website for the application, and please try it out. I think it's awesome. And Zachary, I wanted also to mention Music AR. I think that it was one of the applications that got most of the attention from the innovative perspective. Prize, it's a prize for the best idea and presentation. So we actually had a tie. The judges gave both these ideas equal scores. So for the $1,000 prize, we decided to split it half and half. For City Canvas and for Language Learner, two fantastic ideas that are also start to mature, and I think that will be very interesting to see their application in the real world, and we do hope to see more of that. And now for the final big prize, the grand prize of $5,000. So thank you, Patrick and Wade, with Epic Marble, Patch Reality. I think undoubtedly that was the most mature concept and execution. Woo! And yeah, truly it was a pleasure working with you.
That's amazing. Thank you so much. And it's really humbling. I mean, the other applications were so cool, like the music, the language. I really want to see what else happens with those. But yeah, it's really good to win. Thank you so much.
Yeah, we are happy to have all of you here, and Patrick and Wade both. I think you did an amazing job and actually getting it to, it's up in the App Store. People can download it, can play around with it. It works well. I think it's amazing. And yeah, and I would say that it was you won fair and square. Most of the judges loved your idea, gave you the best score, and I think that's amazing. So we're very proud and happy to have you here. And
well, thank you so much. Thank you so much.
Yeah, it's amazing.
Yeah.
But really, as Avi said, I want also to say that, I mean, if we could have given each one of you a 5,000 prize, then we'd do that, because I really think that each one of the applications that is here have a great potential. And yeah, so I want to thank everybody that joined us and had patience with our technical difficulties in the beginning, and with this not really that easy format of a Zoom event. But really, I think it's really exciting, and we love meeting the community, and we hope that you'll all join us in the future. We'll try to organize more events like that, more challenges to come, and more than that, that you'll actually have really good applications out there winning the crowds. And that's what we want to see. So thank you so much for joining us today.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you very much.
Thank you very much.
Thank you very, very much.
Thank you.
Bye.
Thanks, everybody. Bye.
Bye, guys.
Bye.
Bye-bye.
Good night or good day, wherever you are.